So let us start this event of STEP 2022. And also, I just wanted to inform that we're going YouTube live as well. So all those who are not able to enter the link can share it there. And let me start the event by introducing our chief guest for the day, that is Shreya Patil. She's a social media influencer specialized in freelancing and LinkedIn. She's based in Dubai right now. Through her social media, she shows people all across the world how to freelance, leverage LinkedIn, and make more money online. Without further ado, I welcome Shreya Patil to the event.
Hi, Anna. Thank you so much. I'm going to turn my video on. I don't think a lot of people are in this meeting right now. If you're watching on YouTube, I can't see you, but anyone who's in the meeting, please do turn your videos on. I would love to see you while we're doing this virtual session. Hi everyone. I am Shreya Patil. Anna introduced me, but I'm a freelancer. I run a content creation agency. I started this through freelancing, and now what I do is mainly I teach newbies, teach beginners, teach students how to start freelancing as well. So today we're going to talk specifically about LinkedIn. So LinkedIn hacks for freelancers, and I'm going to share my screen and I'll present a session. So how we'll do this is I'll present for about 15 to 20 minutes, and we'll also have a Q&A of about 10 minutes. So once we're done with the session, you could just save up all your questions and then you can add them in the chat. Or if you're watching on YouTube, I hope somebody on the team can probably add the questions on the chat here in Zoom. That would be great. And then I can take those towards the end of the session. So I'll share my screen, and I hope you all can see this. So let's begin. LinkedIn hacks for freelancers. Now, first, let's start with who am I? I'm an agency owner, a content writer and creator, and I'm also a prolific ebook writer. I love writing ebooks. But the reason I'm here presenting on this topic today is because I have been using LinkedIn for almost 4 years. I have an audience of over 122,000 followers on LinkedIn. And just based on the content I've been creating, my audience has started calling me the LinkedIn girl. And I think it's just a wonderful name. And it's also one of the powers of LinkedIn. It's the power of personal branding, which we'll touch upon in the presentation. So let's get started. So why LinkedIn? I hope most of you must have heard of LinkedIn, or at least if you came across this topic, maybe you looked up what LinkedIn is. It's a professional platform, of course, but why do we use it? When it comes to LinkedIn right now, it's become very much of a content creation platform like Instagram or Facebook or Twitter. So LinkedIn can be used to build an audience, to build a personal brand or brand recall, to raise awareness about what you do. So more and more people are aware of your services and what you offer. And of course, for getting leads and clients. So this session is specifically for freelancers, and freelancers can make the most of all of these benefits by creating content on LinkedIn, by using LinkedIn. And the best part is you can do all of this organically. You don't have to spend anything on ads. You don't have to, worry too much about investing into it or giving it too much time. It does not take as many years to start seeing results from LinkedIn as it does on other platforms. So I think that way it's not only organic growth, but it's much faster than what you would find on other platforms like, let's say, Twitter or Facebook. Now, before we get into it, I want to start with saying hacks don't exist for any social media platform. And right now for LinkedIn, there are no particular hacks that you can use, but systems and processes do exist. That's why what we'll focus on during the session is to share something and is to learn something that you can keep repeating as a system, you can follow as a process, and if you keep doing it, you will get good results. So let's begin with the various systems and processes. The first, most basic, most foremost thing is your profile. Your profile consists of there are a lot of elements, but right now, for the sake of this session, to keep it short, and also to keep just to focus on the most meaningful aspects, let's focus on the first top part of your profile, which includes your name. It includes your profile picture. It includes your headline. It includes your banner, and it includes the about section, which comes a bit lower to this. So your name, the reason I'm stressing on the name is because you want to make sure it is correctly not only spelled, but it's correctly, the sentence case is proper, that the capitalization is proper, that you have not written everything in all caps, you've not written everything in just all small letters. But this small thing can also be a great way of being professional with your profile. So this just a small thing. If you have any capitalization issues in your name, just fix that, because it does create a good impact when you have it in the way that it should be. Then you have your profile picture. You can smile, you can you can have fun in your profile picture. That's not a problem. You don't have to be strict and stern because it's a professional platform, but make sure your face is seen. Make sure it's still in some senses a formal picture, and make sure that it's something that's clear, that's you. It should be you. Make sure it's you in your profile picture. Now, the headline is one of the most important things, because headline is where, especially for you as a freelancer, it's where you will be able to convey the most value to your audience, to anyone who's looking at your profile. So in my case, I offer mostly LinkedIn branding services. So my headline mentions that. Along with that, I've mentioned the other things I do, and that I have written ebooks, that I am the director of my company, and my hashtag Shreya Writes. So when you're creating your headline, make sure the value proposition is very clear. So if you're a freelance content writer, make sure that comes through. If you work specifically for Instagram, make sure you write that. If you work specifically for web development, make sure you write that. If you work specifically in video editing, and that's for YouTube, so make sure you write that. So your first line should be about what you do and who you help. Basically, what value can you add to somebody's life, to whoever is seeing your profile. That's the bottom line. And then accept that first line. Of course, apart from that, you can also write other things, other skill sets, other interests, maybe your social media following on other platforms, something about what you do, maybe your other interests, which are even beyond your career right now. And if you want, you can add a hashtag, or you can also add a CTA, which is one of the best things to do. Like if you're looking for help with this, then just DM me or email me. Some form of CTA would also be great. Now, apart from this, you have a banner. I have very recently changed it just because I'm working on another one right now. But normally a banner would be something that, again, adds to your headline. It sort of reiterates what you're saying in the headline. You could have your testimonials here. You could have case studies. You could have some quick brand logos showcasing which brands you worked with in the past. So your banner really helps with just pulling your audience in and saying what your headline says, but without the words. So that's what the banner is great for. And your about section, which comes a little lower, is your chance and your space to write more and expand more on what you do. Now that's where you can in detail share your case studies, share what sort of work experience you have, what your interests are, how you got into this field, what you're planning to do, what kind of clients you work with. All of that can be mentioned in the about section. Now, when you make this profile complete, and when you make this in this particular way, what happens is your audience basically gets some sort of a sales page, which is about you. So your profile ends up becoming a sales page, and you're able to pitch your services. You're able to attract leads, inbound leads, without actually having to reach out to them. And you're just able to create a good impression and create that sort of clarity as to what you can offer to your audience. So work on your profile first. This is super important, because everything else, your content creation, everything else even if people like your content, they're ultimately going to come back to your profile before they can message you. So make sure you nail the profile very well. Now, the next thing we have is the creator mode. It's fairly new on LinkedIn, and it's something that not a lot of people are aware of. So I just wanted to tell you what it is. Creator mode is it's just available when you scroll through your profile. You'll find the resources option, and you just have to turn creator mode on. What this does is it's particularly meant for creators, people who are creating content on LinkedIn. So your content comes first on your profile, the connect tab changes to follow, and you also get more detailed insights about your post. So I highly recommend turning the creator mode on so that you are known for your content first and your content gets more visibility on your profile. Now, the next thing to do as a freelancer is to pick a niche. You need to know exactly what you aim to do on LinkedIn. So, why should you pick a niche? Well, because it allows you to build a very focused personal brand. You know exactly what you're doing here and who you're doing it for, and what results you can expect from all this content that you're creating and all this brand building that you're doing. The second benefit is that you improve your engagement rate. So when you're creating content, let's say you're creating content, in my case, I create a lot of content related to LinkedIn, and my audience ends up learning about LinkedIn. So it improves my engagement rate because anyone who's following me for my LinkedIn content gets to see more about LinkedIn from me on my page. Whereas if I keep changing the topics every single day, then my audience will be confused because they followed me for one particular topic, but every day they're seeing something else. So it's very important that you pick a niche. It could be a couple of topics as well, but then that will help you improve your engagement rate and reach on your posts and on your content. The third benefit is that you're increasing the potential of lead generation or monetization of your profile. Because when you are creating content in a particular niche, then you're attracting an audience specifically for that niche. And eventually, if you already have a service, that helps as well. So you can start attracting people who would potentially be good clients for that service that you have. And the other thing is, if you do decide to, let's say, launch some sort of consultation calls or products in the future, you still have an audience that is in one particular niche instead of having multiple different interests and having multiple different expectations from you. So pick a niche and define it before you really start getting into the content creation. An important thing here is that if you're a freelancer, don't teach freelancing, or I would say avoid teaching freelancing, because when you do that, you're attracting other freelancers instead of attracting your target client. So don't teach freelancing. Instead, post more about your success stories, post more about yourself, your services, the testimonials, the case studies, how exactly you've overcome certain challenging clients. Post about those things. If you are planning to build an audience of other freelancers, that's a different thing. But if you're planning to find clients for your services through LinkedIn, then avoid teaching freelancing, because all this will do is this will attract other freelancers who do not fit your target audience for your services. The next thing is to create content. Of course, this is one of the biggest things on LinkedIn right now. It's to create content on LinkedIn and to start attracting that sort of attention, that sort of leads, that sort of opportunities and deals. Everything comes to you when you start creating good quality content. So I just have this very small content creation checklist that you can plan for or check with before you start creating content. So plan the frequency of your content. I would say 5 times a week, it would be the best way to start. But if you think it's too much, then 3 to 4 times a week is okay. But make sure you keep increasing it, and eventually you do reach to 5 times a week. The next thing is to plan your preferred post type. This can be changed any time, that's not a problem, but just have something in mind. Okay, do you want to create more of Images, do you want to create more of written content? Do you want to create more of video content? Do you want to create more of carousels? What exactly do you want to do? If you just have a fair enough basic idea to start with, you at least have clarity on what type of post you're going to create, and accordingly you can come up with topics as well. And the third thing is to have a preferred CTA in mind. CTA is your call to action. What sort of action do you want your audience to take once they see your content? Now, it could be, let's say, services. You want people to be, you want people to come and take your services. They want you to, you want them to hire you for your services. So you should have that CTA in mind and create content keeping that in mind. So we've already covered that in the niche part, where you create content that shows your skill sets and that shows people what you can do for them and how good you are at what you can do for them. So just having a CTA in mind definitely helps, because then your content aligns with what you aim to achieve on LinkedIn. And also it increases the chances of you actually achieving those results. Okay. Now let's quickly go into a little bit deeper into content. So let's focus on the elements of a highly engaging LinkedIn post, because I realize that a lot of people do want to create content. I'm sure you want to create content on LinkedIn and get more opportunities, but how exactly do you create content that stands out and that does end up getting good reach, good engagement, and brings you more opportunities? So let's briefly touch upon elements of a highly engaging LinkedIn post. Now, the first part of this is the content style. The content style, I have put this forth as follows. You must have heard of the AIDA model of marketing, and this is the same model that sort of can be applied to LinkedIn content as well, which is why I have used that as a reference point. Hopefully, it will also help you remember this better, just because of the AIDA format. So attention, the first thing you need to do is you need to grab attention. And how do you do that? You do that by creating a strong hook. The first line of your LinkedIn post is called a hook. And once that has to be so strong that once somebody reads that line, they should be hooked onto it and they should want to read the rest of the post. So it's super important to write a strong hook. Don't worry, I'm going to give you some examples in the next couple of slides. But for now, let me just explain what the different elements are. So first is your strong hook. Second is your build up. So once you have the hook, now you have to get them more into the story and you have to build interest, which is your build up. The third is the desire. Now, based on the length of the post, this may or may not exist. The interest and desire can sort of be combined. But desire means creating more build-up in this case. So you are engrossing your reader further. You're still giving them more information. You're giving them something that they're still sort of waiting to learn about. And there's, still a build-up about, okay, what's next? And then fourth, finally, is your action, which is the big bang, which is the end of the post. It's like it has some sort of a wow factor. And then you have your call to action. So these are the four elements, I would say, of the content style when it comes to creating your LinkedIn post. Now, let me just give you a few quick examples. I've picked up some short examples so that they are also easier to emulate for you. So one of these posts that did really well was freelancing is simple. Things you need, skill, a laptop, internet connection. Things you don't need, capital investment, office space, website, logo, branding. Don't complicate it. You can literally make your first dollar in the next 24 hours. Now, as you can see, the first line is hooking. Freelancing is simple. So that does pique interest because freelancing is pretty much a buzzword right now. And how can it be simple? So it does pique some interest. Then the things you need. Now, this is, of course, an oversimplification, but it's also the truth. You don't need a lot to get started. So things you need, things you don't need, and then don't complicate it. And this is sort of the big bang that comes towards the end, because you have all this build up that's still evoking a bit of curiosity as to what's really going on. How is it so simple? And then you get it. Okay, you know what? It actually is that simple. You could find your first client or make your first dollar within the next 24 hours. The next hook that I really like is how to be a broke freelancer. Now, everyone's writing about how to be rich freelancer, how to make more money. So, what is this post about how to be a broke freelancer? Which is why I think it also piques a little bit of different kind of interest, and it's a good hook. So these are, and then I've listed a few things that I do not recommend doing. Of course, that if you do these things, you will end up broke. So, simple things like never following up, or not charging in advance, or charging by the word or hour, or trying to create the perfect content instead of, just creating and publishing and learning through the process. So this again has a lot of build up. It has a lot of curiosity that comes up with it, and it's a different kind of post. You wouldn't normally see somebody talking about this particular topic this way. The third example I have for you here is, if you're in your 20s, you should start freelancing, learn the art of selling, start investing, learn one new skill per month, work out at the gym, eat more protein. On the way, you will make mistakes, but there's no better time to try new things than when you're young. Now, again, this is a different, it's not exactly about freelancing, but I have incorporated freelancing, selling, investing, all of these things into it. And there is again a buildup of, okay, what should you do in your 20s? And then there is a final big bang that says it's okay even if you make mistakes, but you need to try all these things right now when you're young. Now, one more thing that comes apart from your content style, the next element becomes your visual element. So let me just quickly run through these. So the 4 visual elements to focus on when creating your post is to space out your lines, to use short sentences and everyday words. You don't need to use fancy vocabulary as such. Don't clutter your post with hashtags or people tags, and upload, if you're uploading pictures, just upload them as a PDF instead of multiple images, because PDF has a nicer flow of images. But let's focus on the first 3 right now. Let me go back to the examples and show you. So as you can see, everything is well spaced out. Everything is short. There's this is of course the shorter kind of post as well, but still everything is very visually appealing. It's easy to read. It's not heavy on the eyes. And the words are very simple. There is nothing that you would, need to pull out a dictionary for. It's simple. The same happens with this. Now, if you see this post, it has like a pyramid-like kind of look. That also gives it a little bit more of visual appeal. It gives it more of a reading flow as well. So every time the movement of the eyes is very easy, also because it's one below the other. So this is again another way to create visually appealing content where you're focusing on how it all looks visually together. This is not possible in all posts, by the way, but this is one of the few posts where it has been possible and it has worked well. And then you have, again, just everything spaced out properly. It's easy to read, it's light on the eyes, and it's all everyday words that most people can easily understand. So you don't need a dictionary again. So those are your visual elements. Now let's come finally to the growth hacks. Again, there are no hacks. These are all about systems and processes. So here are some systems and processes or hacks that you use to grow on LinkedIn. So as I said, ideally you should post 5 times a week minimum, but you can start with 3 to 4 times a week if you find it overwhelming. Second is to create a combination of long and short form content. See which works better, see which one you enjoy writing more, what you're comfortable with. And as per that, keep changing and keep adapting your type of content as well. Third is to stick to your niche, so you build a very focused audience. Fourth is to blend in a lot of emotions, numbers, images, PDFs. So like one of the posts was about things to do in your 20s. So just numbers, people really like numbers. Numbers, bullet points, listicles, these formats work really, really well. The fifth point is to respond to comments on your posts every other day, or let's say, based on how many comments you get, of course, you don't need to respond to all, but respond to some and just respond to them regularly. Sixth is to engage with 10 to 15 other people. Now, this could be engagement through DMs, or this could be engagement through comments. Do this every single day if possible. Again, if it's overwhelming, do it on the days that you post content. And the benefit of engaging with other people, make sure that you're engaging with people who are in your target audience, within your target, like, your target client. So you start attracting clients that way, and you start building a network. You really start building a network um, that is going to be interested in your content, that you are able to offer value to as well, and that you can potentially turn into a client. And this brings to the last point, that network only with your preferred audience. It's okay, of course, to network with other people, but if your goal through LinkedIn is to make the most of it in terms of monetization as a freelancer, I highly recommend networking and connecting with mostly your preferred audience. So whoever is your target client, work with them, talk to them, DM them, engage with their posts, respond to their comments more regularly, uh, respond to their DMs more regularly. This way, you will keep attracting opportunities, and you can also do outreach this way. You can pitch your services this way as well. Finally, remember this, okay? The ultimate LinkedIn hack is consistency. If you follow everything that I've told you in this session, then all you need to do is to repeat the exact same thing, the exact same system, the exact same process, and keep doing it day after day, week after week, month after month. Because all of these things, when put together, they compound over time, and they definitely bring you results. So the ultimate hack here to grow on LinkedIn is consistency. Make sure you realize this, and make sure you stay consistent with LinkedIn. So I hope you found this helpful. Now we'll have a couple of minutes for Q&A. If you have any questions, you can ask them on YouTube. Please make sure that your questions are relevant to LinkedIn and LinkedIn for freelancers, since this is the theme of the day. So yeah, let's go ahead with that. So I see a few questions in the chat. Unfortunately, they're not relevant to the topic, but I will answer these two questions. Apart from these, make sure that your questions are relevant to the topic so we can make the most of everything that we've talked about in this session. So Prajul has shared these questions with me. So how much effort do you take to convince your client to get the work? Well, this is a very broad and a rather vague question, but you can't quantify effort, but it's mostly about sharing the value that you offer, sharing, again, like I said, the testimonials and case studies, and as in how you build your personal brand on LinkedIn. Once you start once you start creating content about a specific niche, and you start building that sort of brand recall that we talked about, that sort of authority that we talked about, then the clients, even though they don't know you, they can trust you more just because of the way you've been consistent with the platform and the kind of value you offer on the platform. So your effort, like convincing effort, that way will go down or will become much smoother, as in how you create content, as in how you build your brand on LinkedIn or any social media platform, as a matter of fact. The second question is, how was the pandemic for you as a freelancer? I was in college when the pandemic started. So because of the pandemic and the lockdown, I had a lot of time where I was at home and all my lectures were online. And then we also had a summer break. So I just had a lot of time to myself. So because of this, because of being at home and having time to myself, I was able to focus more on freelancing. So in many ways, just being at home and having that sort of space and time, it led me to a better career. It led me to a lot of better opportunities. And I saw maximum of my growth once the lockdown started. So in that sense, I think I was able to make the most of whatever extra time that the lockdown ended up creating, just in terms of, being at home and having online lectures and things like that. So my freelancing career got better during the pandemic. Okay, these are the only two questions I've received. If there's any more questions, we'll take them now. So if any more questions, please do ask.
Hi, Nidhi. This is Prashant.
Hi,
So
Prajit.
I'm actually at the railway station, so that's why I'm in this situation. So I have been following you for many past few years on your Instagram and LinkedIn. Your contents have been very useful for me as a freelancer. So, do you use any tools that can support your freelance work for the LinkedIn? Maybe like Grammarly or something like that. Tools that can support a freelancer. So, do we have any such tools that can help us as well?
Okay. So Prajwal has asked if there's any tools I use. I don't use any tools. Let's say for content creation, though, if you need help, of course, yes, you can use Grammarly. You can use something like Hemingway Editor, which is also free to use online. And these can help you just refine your content, get rid of those grammatical errors, long sentences, make your content more readable, more easy to understand. All of these things, yes, that's definitely possible. So you can use tools that you like. Also for LinkedIn, you can use particular certain tools to like schedule your content or to get more in-depth insights as to what's working, what's not working, impressions, to get all of your content in one place. There's an app, there's a platform called Shield, SHIELD, which is specifically for LinkedIn and to understand LinkedIn better and to schedule your content and things like that. I don't highly recommend using these because sometimes LinkedIn can sort of catch you that you're using external platforms. And some of my clients had lost access to their profile because they were using these tools in the past. It doesn't happen to everyone. So, of course, you can try it out. But I've never tried out any scheduling tool for my platform. So, what I do instead is I create content in advance if I have to, and then I just copy paste it on the day that it needs to go up. So yeah, you can try the tools out though. See if those work for you and if they help you with making everything easier.
Thanks. Thanks, Shreya.
You're welcome, Rajul.
Thank you so much, Shreya. I think that's all the questions we have for today.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and as a token of appreciation, we would like to share something.
Thank you, Anna.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate everyone who watched this session on a Sunday evening. So thank you so much for being a part of it and for your time. And yeah, I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. By the way, your posters were all so nice. So yeah, great job on that.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Hope this helped. And I look forward to seeing your LinkedIn profiles. Just message me once you start applying these hacks and let me know how it goes. So message me on LinkedIn. And have a great Sunday.
Yeah,
Bye, everyone.
So without any delay, I think we can move on to our next session, which is by Nidhi Nagori. Hi, Nidhi. Am I audible? Hello, I don't think we can hear you.
Hi, Anna. Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible now.
Okay, perfect.
So before we start, I just want to introduce Nidhi Nagori. She's a social media influencer who focuses on career building. She's a certified chartered accountant from India and a certified public accountant, and is now based in Toronto. I'm not going to delay more because we all know her. And over to you, Nidhi, for the session.
Thank you. Hi, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. The first thing that I want to start off by saying is if you want to have a global career, or as whoever you want to, please respect. That's number one. I had a slot of 30 minutes, so I only have 60 that I end that on time. So that is going to be my number. Probably work differently in different countries, but time is of a lot of for people in the West. And that's something I had to learn the hard way. I'll be that if I'm giving 9 a.m., I can show up at works. You have to show up at 8:45. So that's going to be my first tip to you. Please appreciate, respect somebody's time, and investing time in you. You have to have more of a payback. Unfortunately, that's how it works, because you have to make sure that you prove to be worthy of that. All right, so let's start off. Global opportunities. What are benefits of a global exposure that you can get, and various types of opportunities that are available? About 15 minutes. I want to close this in the minutes, so I will rush through this presentation. I apologize. I just do not want to eat into somebody else's time. Okay, so to begin with, the world has changed significantly and at a very, very accelerated pace. And it's not a world where you have to come from a top Ivy school or have the best exposure or the best experience. Today's world is what opportunities are out there and what you should apply for, and get you that edge over the others. I think a lot of us that, oh my God, my communication skills are not good, my English is not good, I cannot present myself, I don't have great scores. To be very honest, most of us are average people. Average student. I didn't have a rank in CA, a good college, but I come from a very small town. So if I can, and that's only because I have learned how to stay globally competitive and I stay globally involved. Just because I came from Baudia, which is a very small village in West Bengal, that did not limit me from knowing about, say, World Economic Forum reports or reading about the labor market trends. So honestly, it is on involved you can be. You could come from anywhere. You could come from, a top Ivy school, an Ivy League college, or you could come from literally nowhere. But it's really on you and how you display your skill sets. So what are the benefits? I will talk about all the global opportunities that are available. Well, first of all, global perspective. You don't know what you don't know. There were a lot of things that I did not know. I moved out of India. I definitely had a very wide perspective because I was from India, and India is a very diverse country, but I did not know what it's like to live in North America, what it's like to live in the US, what it's like to work in the US, what it's like to work in Europe, and how different the economics, the politics, everything is. And I only got to know what I didn't know. I only got to know the limit of my knowledge of the country once I started immersing myself globally. I've worked in over 27 countries now, so I can say that I have some, and I think the global perspective that I've gotten can understand what it's like to work in France. I work in Canada. I know what it's like to work in Poland, or I know what it's like to work in Argentina because I've worked in these countries. So that's probably the number one key insight that you into new culture building, which I think a lot of us don't focus on, unfortunately. I think people think that if you want to apply for a job abroad, a good resume, good scores, unfortunately, that's not how it works. How well can you present yourself? Just your resume, but also how well can you talk? How well can you, do you look smart? Do you look etc. So building that overall brand. The next thing is networking opportunities. If you really want to move abroad, networking is extremely crucial. See, the thing is, when I started applying, know anyone. And today, if you ask me, I think my network in Canada is definitely over 50,000. That did not happen overnight. I obviously have reached out to people, met people, coffee chats, Zoom calls, LinkedIn conversations, just. And today I'm in a position where I can say that to lose my job today, I don't care. Enough people to get me placed right. So having a strong network in these countries is extremely important. As immigrants, we come with nothing. We know no one. I don't have the benefits of being an international student here, where you get access to alumni, where you get access to, your own batch. You know so many people, you've studied with them, you've had that organic integration. So I've obviously not had that, and I don't expect that everyone should have that, which is why networking is extremely important, which you can get through global opportunities, and finally, future pathways that can open up for you. So I'll skip through this in-person and online sessions. A lot of people are going to ask me, what are the different types of options that are available as students? And then, is it expensive? So one of the things on my social media is just create content around free opportunities or fully funded opportunities. And that's what I'm bringing to you today. The first kind of options that we have is summer schools. Now, Europe has a lot of fully opportunities, and China is also growing in that space. I would say currently Europe is the leader in that. There are a lot of fully funded summer school opportunities. Now, these can be online and this can be remote. For well, summer school is amazing. They have closed their application for this year. We'll talk about the timelines as well. And then I think the next big place to target would be Southeast Asia and China. Thailand has some good opportunities in this space. Now, these are fully funded, meaning your visa, travel, accommodation, everything is typically a few weeks long. I would say anywhere between 4 to 6 weeks. Amazing experiences. Obviously, it's not about you being an excellent student to apply. It's about knowing what's available and applying for it in the right time, because the is that the window to apply is very limited. And so you want to make sure that, the window opens up, say, for 2 weeks only. So you really want to make sure that you know which opportunity is coming up next. And so that's summer school for you. Exchange programs. Again, North America and Europe are big leaders in this. And student exchange is typically shorter than the summer school. It'll probably be about 2 to 3 weeks. And fully funded. It could also be a semester if it is a part of your degree program, but that's not what I'm referring to. I'm just referring to like a student exchange. This is only for cultural integration, cultural exchange, and maybe some research work as well. The third pathway is internships. Now, these are a little longer. This could range from 3 to 6 months. Most countries actually have a separate visa for internships. So these are paid midterm opportunities. A lot of companies prefer this now, hiring younger people. So like if I want to hire, say, a student out of India, somebody who's just graduated, and I'm not sure if I really want to hire them, long term, because they have no work ex, I'll probably get them on internship first, see how they're doing 6 to 12 months or 6 to 8 months, something like that, 3 to 6 months, and then convert them full time. Now, these are, if you're from a science background, I think you have way more opportunities in this. If you are from a regular background like myself, which is investment banking, finance, corporate finance, etc., could be limited. The next up, Europe, Singapore, China, Korea, and Hong Kong. So they have some fully funded conferences, these last about 3. And again, these can be, it can be remote. And just so that the government of India also has travel programs, conferences. There are also private scholarships that are available on my Instagram, and I'm sure you'll be able to find some. And then lastly, it's jobs. Like, be far-fetched and few, especially if I always recommend having 2 years of home country experience. But if you think that you really want to try, then I think if you can start learning in-demand skills, which are probably tech related, and by tech, I don't just mean tech, digital marketing, anything that's related to technology today, I think those can be great. And you will be able to find visa sponsorship opportunities in that. In terms of timelines, apart from, I think we discussed 5 different options. So timeline seasons, and then there's fall, which is, I would say, October and November are to announce and apply. Summers are pretty dull. Most people take off here, so you will not get a lot of traction in summer. Are aiming for any global opportunity, then please make sure that you look at paperwork. You don't need any TOEFL or IELTS. You don't need anything like that, but you definitely need a resume, your college letter, things like that. Just keep it ready so that when the timelines come up, you can just go in and apply. And that's about it. I have about 3 more minutes. So I'm sorry this presentation was rushed. Know if you have any questions.
Hi, Nidhi. Hi. I hope I'm audible. Yeah, hi Nidhi. So I have been seeing your Instagram comments for long. So how do you find these contents? Like there are many useful opportunities that you share with us. So how do you identify what's the right point of sources that you get, and how do you identify whether they are genuine or not?
So most of the opportunities that I post, I have some network there. I already know people in those places, and I mean, either I post opportunities, I confirm with them, or if or if there are opportunities that we're unsure of, we reach out to the college institution. We first verify that this is actually legit, and then only do we post. I have a small team that helps me with my research. So anything that you see on my Instagram takes at least 2 weeks, because that's the amount of time that we have to put in every link. And then we reach out to universities. These universities are generally good. We reach out to the international student section, etc. Otherwise, I mean, I probably know people in a lot of these places. That's why I said network is important. So yeah, so that's how I know that these are legitimate. But what you can also do is look at the links. If the links are from a verified source, then those are more likely than not supposed to be correct. So like if you get a link from a university's website about a student conference, then that obviously would make it more legitimate than getting it like from a random web page on Google.
Thank you, Nidhi. I would also like to say thank you to you, because many content I have been very much used. I was able to do the Google courses. That was one. Then I was also able to get a Commonwealth scholarship for my upcoming master's program. So that was all because of your content. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Rachel. Good luck for future.
Thank you
All
so
right.
much.
Thanks, guys.
So I have a question for you, that you, as you have said, you have been working at 27 different countries for the past. And the first question is, how is that possible? And second is, how is that working with you?
Well, pre-pandemic, I used to travel 60 to 70%. I work in investment banking. We buy businesses all over the world. I work for the second largest investment banking group in the world. We have assets worth $700 billion, and we are only 200 people in the company. So yeah, we buy businesses, and to buy businesses, you have to know everything in and out of a country. That includes the politics, the government, We meet government officials in different countries, immigration laws, economics. Is this business worth it? Is this industry worth it? So that's how I used to do it. My colleagues are back to traveling. I cannot because I am pregnant with my first child. But once I go back to work, which is going to be a few months, obviously, yeah, back to 60 to 70% travel. So I used to travel about 3 weeks in a month.
Thank you. It was quite informative, and also congratulations on your first child.
Thank you. Thank you. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Does anybody else have a question? I guess that's all.
Thanks,
and
Anna.
much. Can you please stop sharing the screen so I can share a token of appreciation?
Sure. Thank you.
So this is a small token of appreciation that we have for you.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it. Yeah, I just want to say good luck, guys, with anything that you do in life. Just give it your best, nothing but the best, and it'll all happen. It might not work out in the first time, but it'll definitely work out maybe in the... So anything you do, just give it your best. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening.
Before you leave, can I ask everybody to switch on the camera so I can get a picture? Thank you so much. And I just want to say congrats once again from all of us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Take care. Bye.
So that is the end of the session and you may leave. Thank you.